to start it off, let's talk a little bit about some of the specific tools that you guys use, especially for content calendars, because that's obviously one of the biggest things is saying, this is when I need to do X, Y, and Z marketing tasks. So do one of you want to talk about some of the tools you use for creating a content calendar?
I can speak to that. That's fine. So what we try to use, because in a perfect world we would work together with the client potentially to share the content calendar. So we use Google Docs. It's free mostly, unless you use it a lot. And you can share it with various people. Are you guys fairly familiar with Google Docs? And we use the Google Sheet just because it's like an Excel document. And in a perfect world scenario, that can be shared with everybody who is doing anything. That means adding content to the website, email marketing, social media, blogging, Instagram, everything. And then everyone can have a sense, kind of in almost real time, what's going on, what is scheduled, what has happened in the past. There are a lot of paid calendars that you can use, but honestly, I really can't think of something better to use that's free. And again, easily shared across different users. So that would be my recommendation. Though I tell clients, even if it's something as simple as a Post-it note you put on your desk with like seven little columns, and you just put Monday, I'm going to do a featured property. Tuesday, I'm going to do an area event. Wednesday, I'm going to do a restaurant. Thursday, I'm going to do a special. Friday, I'm going to do what's coming up this weekend. Saturday, in a perfect world, you would post on the weekends. Saturday, I'm going to do what's happening in town. Sunday, what happened in town. Even if you just have something as simple as that on your desk, just as a reminder every week of what you should be posting, it works. Content calendar, though, you can really flesh out, like I said, put your newsletter idea, your promotional email idea, your blog post, and you could, it just goes in a nice circle when everybody can see what everyone else is doing.
The other thing that's nice with content calendars is you can make yourself a column or two where you make notes on how things went. So any of the promotions that you might run, you might make notes, because in a year when, say, an event or something comes back up, you may or may not remember exactly what you did and how successful it was, what you integrated it with. So you can go back to that calendar, you can kind of look at what you did, hopefully improve on some of that. You can even go back and then look at analytics data for that time frame to kind of see how things went. So if you, it's kind of a process. If you can start yourself with something small and get buy-in from the people that are going to help you execute the various items, and then you can kind of build from there. The hardest part is really to get everybody in your organization that's helping you to either post or create content for the site or do emails, getting them to kind of buy into this shared effort in the organization. And you can start small, and then you can kind of build that up as you get everybody going, I think, is really the best way to do that. And the more you can take notes for yourself, the better, because I forget a lot these days.
And to assign the task to the various people you're working with in your organization, or if it's not just you doing everything. For example, when I rebranded that client, it was making sure we got the content on the website first, do a blog post, and then we also optimized and did some new changes that talked about, hey, this company just bought another company and now this is their new brand, and then scheduling JT to go out and change all those social profiles and do an email blast and do press releases. And just a little tidbit, I started working with a company called The Hoff, H-O-T-H, and it's called thehoff.com for press releases, and they do a great job of their ad distribution, and you get some great backlinks. So that's somebody new I've been working with that I was really impressed with. Thehoff.com. T-H-E? H-O-T-H. Or yeah, the, as in the top. And it's pretty good. I mean, for $300 you get a great ad distribution with a lot of great backlinks, and they'll send you great recording on it as well.
So let's imagine somebody comes to you with an event and they want to push it out to every channel that they have, all these that we talked about. Let's just imagine that they have all of the channels set up so that they have their Facebook business profile, have their My Business page, they have email marketing campaigns set up, they have pay-per-click, they have all of these different things set up just initially. How do you go about distributing that? And I guess this is more for the project managers. How do you go about quarterbacking that message and saying this is where it should go in May?
That's a good question. Well, pre-planning
Varies.
is huge. I think the important thing to always remember is put it on your website first. Can't say that enough. The purpose of all these other things is to get someone to your website making that reservation. If they can make the reservation in mobile apps or other ways, that's great. But get the information on your website first. Then talk about where you're going to spend the money. Where is that budget going to be spent? And how important is this particular one that you want to do boosted posts or graphic ads, whatever you're going to do in pay-per-clicks. And hit all of those different areas. But what we really like to do, and that's one of the things that Tim and I were talking about just today, is get a common message and a common image going. So just like the big brands, just like the national advertising, you can do that too. And Susan's going to talk about that more as the workshop goes on. But you want to have that similar message on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest, on your website, in email marketing.
And a good place to start on your website is your blog. And that's just a quick and easy way to add content to your website. And if you guys aren't blogging, why?
Right. So if you have, perhaps it's a particular deal that you're offering along with this. So you get something on your specials or packages page, put something on your blog post. By then, you've kind of identified how you're going to be marketing this. So it's all there. Now start pushing it out in all the other channels. You are going to need to talk to your staff or your team, whoever that is, to make sure that the social media person is aware, the PPC person is aware, the designer is aware that this has to go on the website, what days it's going to happen. And then, if it's worthy of press release type distribution, sign up for the Hawk and have it pushed out that way too. So now it's really going just beyond your own channels, your own profiles, and onto other places too.
I think timeline matters too. You're not always going to use every channel for a good integrated campaign. If you're trying to put heads and beds for the weekend because you have a shortage, or even 2 weeks out, you're probably not going to do a whole lot of paid ad campaigns necessarily, because it could be too short of a timeline to get all of that put together well and run long enough for good data. At least that's kind of been our experience in the past for short timelines. But if you're doing something that you're planning 2 or 3 months ahead of time for the holidays or for the blues festival or something like that, you want to integrate everything. And you'll learn which channels really produce for you in different various timelines, and that sometimes you have to go back and do the historical research to determine which ones those are. But emails are often great for short timelines, like I need to get people here for this weekend or next
Flash
weekend.
sales.
Yeah, crash sales, get the information on the website, send out the emails. Hopefully you have a good email list at this point of people that are responsive to you, that have been to visit you, that have been past guests, that are much more likely to go, oh crap, I love that place. 50% off, sweet, I'm going, I can do that. Or you send it just to your drive market, So you really have to kind of think through so you're spending your money and your effort in the right places. So integration doesn't always mean everything if it's a shorter timeline especially.
I say make sure you're tracking everything properly. That'll be your big, sometimes that's some of the hardest thing to do, is to track things properly. Make sure that you are not seeing, for example, if you're looking in your analytics and everything comes from a direct visitor, there's something wrong. So make sure, that's important. You can do it manually for the most part, most platforms have it set up pretty easily, but sometimes you have to do it with adding actual code to the end of a link. So learning how to do that is really important.
No, at Blizzard, we work with a lot of different companies doing a lot of different things with their websites. As far as some people have somebody else has built their website, and we're marketing it, and so we have to go in and try to figure out their technology of how to do some certain things. One of the biggest issues with that is revenue tracking. So if somebody isn't using revenue tracking, do you guys have any tips for how to assess which marketing channels are giving people the best results? Because this is integrated marketing, so if you say you have an event and it's pushed out on 4 different channels and you just want to see which one should I be concentrating on more?
What I look at it would be the visitor. So if I'm not tracking revenue, then you can look at the visitor that's coming from that channel. First of all, look at your bounce rate. If your bounce rate's high, then you're not getting a good visitor. If they're leaving immediately, then there's something wrong. That's your first thing. And then looking at how long do they stay on the page, or how long do they stay on your website. So, for any page on your website or anything, look at your bounce rate first. Because if it's high, then you need to revamp that page, you need to revamp that campaign, you need to figure out how am I going to keep that visitor on the page. And always remember, like, the content should have the details of the campaign, and then say, like, your ad should just be a teaser. How can I tease that person to get them to come to my website, and then get more information. So kind of
And you can be creative
luring
with
them.
coupon codes, or, if you have call tracking, then that's another way that you can sometimes, if you're not getting the direct correlation, but you can still see if a campaign does well, or you can use a coupon code that people either have to call in with, or if you're lucky enough to have a system that will utilize that, so you know that campaign reached, you know how many conversions you got, even if your website won't give you the specifics of where they came from, you can at least know.
And look in those individual channels for the stats that they're providing there. We tend to get, used to looking everything in Google Analytics, and a lot of times it's not connected or not connected well. So go right back to those channels. Facebook, for instance, the insights there are very helpful, and you can analyze it that way.
Is this spawning any questions for anybody? Okay. Well, I've got more. If somebody does have revenue tracking set up, are there some specific ways that they can monitor the effectiveness of campaigns? Because a lot of times, and the goal is to have multi-channel campaigns hit people in each channel, right? So is there a way to monitor and figure out multi-channel effectiveness and which one actually was the source of the sale?
Yes.
Amy?
It's kind of just similar to watching it the other way. So you're just going to look at your transactions, and see which channel is converting more. So that would be also where you might want to look at your conversion rate in analytics, because you can say, yeah, maybe most of my visitors are converting the most from organic, but I'm getting half the visitors from paid ads, but more conversions. Does that make sense? What your conversion rate is? It's how many people came through that channel that actually converted. So I could see, oh, my conversion rate for pay-per-clicks is a lot higher than organic, or vice versa. So you might want to look at your conversion rates as well. Or look at your conversion rate by region. Okay, and that's real simple to do in analytics. Maybe most of my visitors are coming from Texas, but look at this small group from Arkansas. They're converting a lot better. So we like to do that in pay-per-clicks quite a bit.
So we have a diverse group here. Let's talk about what a conversion might mean to them. Well, maybe you got that.
Go ahead.
So for a real estate company, a conversion might be they filled out a form, they sent an email, they made a phone call. For a nonprofit, it might be the same thing, or it might be a volunteer. Maybe they filled out a form or made a phone call to become a volunteer, or to give a referral, things like that. Email conversion, whether it's they signed up for to join your mailing list, is a conversion. A phone call, obviously a purchase, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish with your website, that's the conversion. Maybe it's only a matter of getting them to a single point where it's clicking a book now button or a sign up now, or if it was mobile, to click to call, things like that. So a conversion is different for every company. But if we can track revenue, of course, that's our ultimate goal. Did somebody actually spend that money and buy? So, and in that regard, we count the transactions. We like to look at the numbers. The dollars are great, but if you got all these sales based on a discounted price, then the numbers month to month might not be as valuable. But if you, through that sale, you got 10 more reservations, then it was a valuable program that you did, or
So you
campaign.
measure the conversions, is what you're saying. Gotcha.
Right.
Now, does everybody in here have Google Analytics set up on their website? Show of hands if you do not.
I bet you do.
Yours is a little bit different.
I don't, well, I mean, it's very antiquated, and that's why I'm here, because it needs major help. So,
Right?
and we're nonprofit, so we have no money for anything.
Well, and it's free. Google Analytics is
Right,
free.
but no one has touched
No one
the
has looked at
website.
it.
Yeah, so, that's why
One-
I'm here.
And then let's ask a more difficult question that I think there'll be more hands, but who in here does not have revenue tracking set up on their website?
What if we don't know? Does that mean we don't?
As a chief financial officer in a company of your size, I think that you should probably look into getting that set up pretty quickly.
We can do that through the course of today.
Not extremely hard, but I think for you it would be a little easier, at least to figure it out, what you need to do. Revenue tracking is probably the most valuable statistic on your Google Analytics, and if you can't track it, it's really hard to tell success, especially with your marketing campaigns. Because people are going to find your website whether you're marketing well or not. It's just about how many. So you might be making online bookings, but you don't know how much of it is because of your marketing and how much of it is because I told Janet, hey, you should stay at this place. I just got back from vacation. So it's one of those things that can really make or break your marketing plan. I think you guys would agree with that. What are some of the things that you guys struggle with when you look at multi-channel marketing and saying, which one should I do? What are your concerns?
I guess I'm dealing with like how much I should market to demographics that we already have a lot of success with versus things that we might not. What markets are we missing? Where could we push and be effective in areas that maybe we haven't gotten the sales or something like that before? How do you make that decision of how to spend money on things that you know are successful, but they might be successful whether or not you spend money on them versus things that you want to try? Yeah, there's some room there.
I think you should always be testing. Should always have a little bit out there for trying something new. Different angle, different demographic, further drive market. Some people watch airline sales, and if there's something sale coming into an airport that isn't quite as close to you guys, things like that. So my first thought on that is you should always be testing.
And I would say Facebook ads are a great, fairly inexpensive way to really test that, because the targeting that you can do on Facebook is so high. You can hyper target by age, by interest, by almost anything you can think of, any parameter you can think of. And you could run the same ad and A/B test it to people that follow you, people in Colorado, people that ski. But you could also then target like 25 to 28-year-old, 35-year-olds who live somewhere else, who do something else or have different interests. So it's it's a good way to just kind of test the waters without spending a lot of money, at least initially.
What's the ad spend difference, would you say, ballparking, between Facebook ads and Google ads? Per
Well,
click?
it depends on your market, first of all. You know,
And
But you can get decent data for a couple $100.
yeah, I mean, if it, you can, pretty much a minimum spend now is $5 a day on Facebook to get anything accomplished. Once upon a time, you could spend $1 a day. That was not very many months ago. Pretty much nothing you can do anymore that's not at least $5 a day. But you can boost a post for $5 a day, which can do several things for you at the same time. It can put your information out there, put your special out there, it can put the link to your website out there. It can also help you generate likes to your Facebook page. And in the meantime, if you have your Facebook pixel set up, you can really track to see who's coming to your website from Facebook. So $5 a day, I don't know what, it's a latte really these days, especially in our resort areas. So I really don't know what better investment there is with your $5 a day than at least trying some Facebook ads.
So then, I mean, comparatively, Todd, how much would you say the average person, probably, average client of ours, usually spends on AdWords?
Not enough.
But per day?
No, I think part of it is the resort communities especially are very expensive, so you need multiple lattes a day to make a successful campaign.
That's a lot more than $5. I mean,
Yeah,
wouldn't you
it's
say
like-
it's $100 probably a day?
I would say for Aspen Vale, Telluride, sometimes you get $8, $13 an ad depending on the keyword. That could be very,
I mean, so just comparatively, $5 a day compared to $10, let's just call it $10 an ad.
mhm. And with Facebook, you get, like you said, you can get really specific on who you're targeting, whereas AdWords, you can get some specification, but not as well. So I think Facebook, if you're just going into ad buys, that's a good way to look at it and test new markets. Facebook works very well because you could test based on interest and demographics, and even if someone likes a certain event like Brews Fest, you could just advertise to those people that like that event. So
Or you can just follow that page.
Right.
Because, I mean, it's just, yeah.
right, so.
Hey Gareth, what were you gonna say was one of your biggest issues?
Oh, not really. I mean, it just that, I don't have, I think most of the people that are on, like in my Facebook network, and I used your advice last time by you taking all the email addresses and telephone numbers and loading them up as, a sort of target group. And it found matches for more than I really believe it did. But, anyway, I didn't have that much luck with Facebook actually before, but the thing is that, we're looking for one golden conversion, and, that might take more effort. I spent about $600 or $700 a month for a couple of months, and didn't have any joy with it. But it seems like my, emails that go out seem to always reliably produce results, and I'm having a pretty hard time getting the people that receive my emails to do any kind of Facebooky type stuff. They just don't really want to engage me on that platform, and maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Well, it might be a different market too, because you're talking more on the real estate side, correct?
Both.
Plus, you're not gonna see a lot of conversions, transactions from Facebook or any kind of social media. You're just not. So really what you're looking for is engagement. Like, what am I doing that's engaging the visitor? So that they're getting familiar with my brand and getting to understand me better. But I do think it should be in all the top channels. And then that's where you go and look at your conversion rate. Because maybe I'm spending a lot less over here, but I'm getting a better conversion rate. So is looking at it that way. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And look at assisted conversions and analytics will show you, because maybe they first got to your website from Facebook, and then the next time from an ad, but then they finally booked from an organic search.
Right.
So the
Still-
assisted will show you all
Long-term
that.
commitment.
Yeah.
By Facebook, yeah.
And I'll add to that, the tracking across devices is just not ready for prime time yet. I mean, that can exist, especially if you're logged into Google and on your phone, and then you search on your tablet, and you search on your computer, and then you go to work and you search on that computer. that component of the fact that you're using multiple devices, for the most part. There's some tracking that happens, but it's just not ready, it's not that robust.
One thing that keeps coming up is the term conversion rate, and I just want to clarify, because a lot of people, when they hear conversion, they think of booking. And that's great, bookings are conversion, absolutely, but there's a lot more conversions that can make you a lot of money. Signing up for your email marketing list can be a conversion. Signing up for event notifications can be a conversion. All those things can actually end up making you a lot of money, and a lot of people forget about those as the conversions. They only think that the conversion is a sale. So just something I wanted to make note, when people are throwing around the term conversion rate, it can be a big, there can be a lot missed there if you only think of it as a booking. Kim?
When it comes to Google Analytics, what is the difference between a conversion and a goal?
So you set up a goal. So a goal would be how many times
Look at 5
how many
pages.
times does this person fill out a form? You know, so that could be a goal. So you get to set up your goals, and it can be, I can set up a goal for I want to look at how many people were on my site for over 5 minutes. So then you would set that up as a goal, and then you can go analyze those visitors that were on your site for more than 5 minutes, or viewed so many pages, filled out a form. So that's where you're going to go in and manually make the goal. Whereas so that could be your conversion rate. So you could say, okay, this is my goal, and then how many of those visitors actually converted, right? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Cool.
So when people say that they have sold things on Facebook, they really haven't sold things on Facebook. They've had an ad or they've had a post or something on Facebook. They click on it and it goes to your website where you do the sale. Is that right?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily?
No, because a lot of people, like for example, I have a side business. I'm a paella catering. So I don't have a website. I do all my sales on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Well, but you're talking about, that's something Facebook is actually working towards.
Okay.
Direct purchase on Facebook. Is that what you're
Yeah, I
talking
just
about?
wanted to understand when you
Yeah.
say those words,
Yeah.
what they really meant was the capability. So you're actually selling,
I am.
I mean,
that's
they
what
click
Facebook-
here and they get to a page
And
where they put their
actually-
order in?
And actually, no, they actually request the paella catering
On
on my Facebook page, but Facebook also has now a new feature that's a shop cart, no? But I think it works more for retail, because I tried it for my hotel and it said that it wasn't, like I tried adding packages to it, and it said that it didn't qualify for something. So I think it's more for retail, like for selling shirts or shoes or something like that, no?
Okay, thank you.
Real quick, one.
Well, there's actually the Book Now button that you can utilize on your Facebook page, which is really easy to set up. It's just a URL redirect to your booking engine on your website. So you can book directly through Facebook. And that's a free button. It costs you absolutely nothing to set it up. If you look at your Facebook page on the cover photo, there's that little button that says message or like, and the next one has a special feature. You can either watch a video. You can only pick one thing, but I would definitely pick Book Now.
That's your call to action button.
Yeah,
And-
thank you.
And just one more
Just
step here,
reservations
well, a lot of
and
times
definitely
when
on
people do say, I sold something through my website, absolutely, a lot of times it means that they're bringing somebody from Facebook to the website, and the transaction is all happening on the Facebook side, or on the website
On the
side.
website, right.
So a lot of times people just say, I'm making sales through Facebook, meaning that's the main referrer for the conversion of the Book Now.
But is it all just things that, I mean, again, we've got training that'll be on demand, and some packages will be $50, $100. Is there a dollar amount, or is it a limit? When you talk to what you sell, the paella, or T-shirts, or whatever, is there a dollar limit on how much paella they can order, for a group?
Well, you
that has-
set that up. I mean, I have a minimum of 50 people onwards. I only cook for groups, for large groups, so. But that's something you add on the content.
But you're basically getting a lead, and then you're finishing it. So they're not actually booking on
They're not-
Facebook.
they're not
like
like-
putting their credit card in.
Exactly,
Right.
they're not putting money
She's getting a
on
lead and then
Facebook.
following
I
up.
get a lead, and then we call and we see each other, and I get paid, I go, I cook, and I get paid.
Okay.
Yeah. And same with like the book now button, it's then
Exactly.
sending them to their
To
website.
your
Right.
website.
So I want their money before I cook that paella. I'm gonna take them to my website, right?
Yes, yes.
Or get it over the phone, or.
It's a lot of work to make that wonderful.
So it would be as a refer, or like, that's like what we're talking
Yeah,
about as a
Facebook's
channel,
more a referral.
as one of your channels.
Except the shop new thing
Yeah,
that they have now
yeah.
that I really don't know how it
that's
works.
new.
Right.
I think it works with PayPal, no?
Yeah, I think
I
you might
think
be
so.
right.
And that, I don't think that's really what you would want
No.
anyway, for your
Have them come to your website.
You want them to
get
go to your
more
website.
You want people
data,
on your
more
website, yeah.
capability to get them tied into your brand. It's
Yeah.
better to have them on your website.
Yeah, you want them to fill out a form and get a lead, that you
Yeah, and
follow
get
up
that
on with a phone
info.
call probably. Right.
Thank you very much.
Get emails and then you can do email marketing, email blasts.
Thank you. Wow, what a creative group. I mean, everybody, thank you.
Any other questions?
What would be some standards, I guess, or if there's not standards, that's okay too, of where your conversion dollars would kind of fall under allocation of those social marketing, direct mail, pay-per-click, organic, email marketing? Is there kind of a common theme or a trend that you've noticed across vacation rental managers specifically?
As far as what works best?
Well, as far as what's actually converting and where, if there's a percentage of total dollars that you're able to generate or a percentage of visits or how you, I prefer to talk about dollars.
For me, the majority is organic, followed by pay-per-clicks,
Okay.
definitely.
And then.
So working
how
on
far
that
down the-
SEO is
how far
super
down the chain
important.
is social and
Yeah, and then it just
interest?
kind of goes down the email marketing and social, things like that, but organic, pay-per-clicks, so SEO is super important,
Yeah.
it's still the top converter. And those pay-per-clicks support those SEO, those results. So when someone's doing a search for St. Simon's Island vacation rentals, and you got your organic ad up there, and your pay-per-click ad up there, and your Google My Business up there, they're like, wow, this person dominates, this is who I should be going with. They own the real estate of this Google search. So it is nice, you should be using all channels, I recommend that to everybody. Of course, you should do Google pay-per-clicks, but you should also do a little bit of Bing. Not as much, but you should always have your, a toe in there.
Well,
Because
there's
people
some
use
markets
Bing.
where Bing actually converts better at a better percentage
Yeah.
rate, so you might
So it's analyzing your
swing
traffic.
over.
You have to
Yeah.
analyze your
Yeah.
Google Analytics,
Yeah. And you
you
can
see
do,
where people are coming from.
you could look at organic to determine what you want to do with pay-per-clicks. Like, wow, I'm getting 50% of my organic from Bing, so I better do the same with pay-per-clicks.
Which is not the case.
And it's up now, but some places, or even by device, you can, look at, like California does so much better with, this is back in the day, but it's so much better with iPhones and iPads than, say, Nebraska. He's still on AOL over there.